Iroquois Shoreline Park is one of the few remaining woodlots left in Oakville, Ontario, in south-central Canada. For centuries, pine trees thrived all around this area, and strong and sturdy oak trees dominated the skyline. But in recent years, the oaks in this park have faced drought, disease, and insect infestations. Today, the few oaks that remain are young and struggle to survive. It's a sad irony, since this region was called Oakville in the early 1800s because of the huge and healthy stands of oak trees here. In fact, those oaks were one of the main features that attracted early British settlers. They used the oaks to build homes and ships.
The oaks played a great role in the shipbuilding industry because it was a very durable wood. And at one time there were 4 shipbuilding yards on the 16-mile creek here in Oakville.
White oaks were amongst the oldest and sturdiest oak trees here. By the early 1900s, the newcomers had cut most of these great old oak trees down. Today, there are less than 5 white oak trees left in all of Oakville that are of a significant age, 150 years or older.
So the white oak tree behind me here, which is in Bronte Creek Provincial Park, is the oldest white oak tree in the area. It's probably over 400 or 500 years old. It's a lucky tree. It happened to be in an area that became a provincial park, and it survived the original logging that happened here because this was a farm originally.
One of the remaining white oak trees in Oakville stands outside the town's regional center. In 2002, there were plans to widen the road near the tree, so the region decided to cut this 250-year-old native down. City Councillor Alan Elgar was on the Planning and Public Works Committee at the time.
2002 is when the conflict started, and we received a consultant's report that said that the white oak tree, in fact, was in its last 10% of its life, and that it probably wouldn't live and survive the construction.
The decision was made to cut the tree down. But Elgar was concerned. It looked so healthy. How could the road planning consultant say the tree was nearing the end of its life? In 2006, he asked to have a look at the original arborist report that the consultant based his decision on.
And in fact, what was in the arborist report was absolutely the opposite of what the consultant had reported to council. In that report, the arborist, which was Abood and Associates, stated that in fact the tree was very healthy and would live indefinitely, even with the road around it.
When the news of the tree's death sentence hit the media, local historian Joyce Burnell, who was familiar with the history of the tree, decided to get involved.
I don't believe they expected opposition. It was just going to be sawdust. That's it. However, a week before the regional council voted, I became interested. So I phoned Alan Elgar, a member of the regional council, and we discussed it. He said, "You know more about this tree than I do. Why don't you make a presentation on Wednesday?"
Joyce became one of a number of people passionately speaking out to save the woodland oak tree.
This tree is really one of our precious treasures. Now, I'm speaking today on behalf of the tree, which is really part of our history and has been for a very long time.
If this motion is passed, should we not be funding the 2 50-year-old trees as well and relocating them?
I bet I could show my kids a couple of 50-year-old trees that exist in Glen Abbey, but I don't think I could show them a 250-year-old tree.
Get out of your cars, actually walk up to the oak tree, and actually stand there. It's much bigger than you think.
As a tourist attraction, it could easily be the center of a small garden dividing the highway in a scenic way as one entrance to the town.
The cost per person in Halton region would be a maximum of $1.25 one-time tax hit. To spend $1 are $1.25 per person for an air purifier that comes with a guarantee of 30 to 350 years is a pretty good bargain.
Now, to add a little humor, I have a new anthem for Halton. Creator, save our white oak tree, long live our sturdy tree, God save our tree.
At the meeting, when Joyce came down to speak to council, she did an absolutely excellent job of presenting the case to save the tree.
With us, God bless our tree.
I think at that point was when the councillors realized this doesn't look good publicly if we just say no to Ms. Burnell, so they gave the option of, okay, you have until December 15th to come up with $343,000 to save this tree. And she said, I will take up that challenge. How was the committee, which you were the chair of, able to raise the money? And what did you do?
Well, it still amazes me that we did. I will say this anonymous donor that came through, Megan, made a big difference when she came through and said she would match dollar for dollar of what we raised. Now, it's very slow raising $1,000, even $100 when you're just taking in toonies.
Yes.
And people giving you $10 here and there. The committee really worked hard. They really had to work very, very hard to raise that amount. Sarah Harmer was one who did do a concert for us, and this was the Save the Woodlands White Oak Tree, and on Sunday, November the 5th was when she did the concert for us. Now that was also another turning point. We made a lot of dollars with that concert.
By December 15th, we had raised all but $67,000. And this was it was from kids at schools doing collections. It was from Trafalgar beer, that was the great white oak beer. It was from selling gold acorns from a jewelry store in Oakville. Everybody got involved with saving the tree. It's something like you've never experienced. It became more than a tree.
Still, the group was $67,000 short of their goal. So, the City of Oakville, the Regional Council, and the Province of Ontario agreed to make up the remaining funds. Money that would be spent on redesigning the new road to curve around the tree. But the campaign did more than just save a beautiful and historic oak tree. It woke up the entire community to the importance of fighting for and protecting older trees.
Older trees have special value. And it's not just the heritage component of them. It's the fact that the older a tree is and the broader its canopy and the more leaf volume it has, the more valuable service it provides for the community in terms of being able to filter our air. And that's a significant role that trees play that we forget. They are truly the lungs of the earth. And we can't remove these old, valuable trees and replace them with baby trees. If we remove this tree, it would be 400 years before we got its value back. That tree on Bronte, it would be 200 years. It would be many generations of humans before we got its value back. So the idea that you can just remove these wonderful old trees and replace them with saplings and you'll somehow have the same value, it's just not the case.
This tree could go on living for another 300 years. It could be as much as 600 years. So we've got a treasure. We've got a majestic tree, and we are proud of it.